We are live with the community. Guess what? It is already midway through the month. This is our first formal and official call for January on what? Our Microsoft 365 and Power Platform Development Biweekly call. So excited to see everyone here. We've got a wonderful call in store. And what is in store for us? Well, let's take a look. We've got the latest updates on the community and .NET libraries, PowerShell, script samples, Copilot Pro Dev samples with Bob the Builder. Latest on Power Platform samples, and then, of course, what time? Picture time. Woo, get those fantastic faces ready. But that's not all. We've got three amazing presenters of the day today. First is Seena. She's going to talk about building a healthcare agent service and deploying a Copilot agent by using Microsoft Copilot Studio. This is our first presentation on the call, everybody, so we're going to show her a ton of support and a lot of love. Then Manish is back. He's going to talk about how to repair flow errors with Copilot Assistance in Power Automate for desktop. And Lee Ford is here. He's going to round it out on bring your GitHub data into Copilot using Graph Connectors. So we've got a nice, well-rounded collection of sessions to talk about today. But first, what do we have available and what are some of our announcements and updates and all that good stuff? Well, if you're new to the call, you will need to know all this stuff. We've got a Microsoft Community Learning YouTube channel available for you. Now, this is our YouTube channel that hosts things like this call and other videos from the community and demos and a lot of cool stuff from both Microsoft and the community. We've also got our LinkedIn group for discussions, which you can be a part of. You're able to go interact with other members of the community. We've got our open source tooling. And did I mention sample galleries? Not yet, but I am, because why? We got lots of them. There's team samples, SPFX samples, Power Platform samples, list formatting. The list goes on and on. Check them out. They're a great they're a great way to learn, and they're a great way to contribute to the community because you can update them, you can collaborate with others, so we welcome each and every one of you to use them and take advantage of them. Now, we also only need to remember one thing to get them, aka.ms/community/home. Or, hey, we've got a new URL, community.ms. That will also take you to our community landing page. Now, if you're on this call, we hope you're liking it, and we want you to like other calls. Well, we've got plenty of them for you. We've got our weekly Microsoft Speakers call. This is the Microsoft 365 and Power Platform every Tuesday at 8 a.m. Pacific. What makes this special? It's coming directly from the mothership. That means those product managers and program managers are joining in on this call to share information on the latest and greatest of the technologies that we use and love every single day. Get that on your calendar. We've also got our Power Platform monthly call. That just happened yesterday, so great, Scott. Just go get a flux capacitor, go back in time and rewatch it, or hey, check it out on YouTube. We've got our Office add-ins monthly call, and we've got our two sibling bi-weekly calls. The one you're on now, Microsoft 365 and Power Platform Community, and Viva Connections and SharePoint Framework. Those are every single Thursday. The topics flip-flop every other week, but we are here for you every Thursday at that time. You can get all those calls and the invites on your calendar at aka.ms/community/calls. And you're asking, well, what's the agenda for some of those? Well, guess what? I just happen to have it. On the coming up Tuesday call of those Microsoft speakers, Carter is going to be back talking about creating your first app with Teams AI SDK. And the one and only Vesta Yuvinen is going to wow us with getting started with SharePoint agents. Create your own Copilot agent in 20 seconds. I am counting down. 20. 19. Oh, that's okay. We're not going to wait, but it's going to be awesome. It shows that you can do it so fast. So get that invite on your calendar. Those calls are all just absolutely worth their weight in gold. And if you're wanting to present on this call and you're thinking, I've got some cool stuff to show off, even if you're thinking, I've got cool stuff that I think is cool, but will others think it's cool? Absolutely. I promise you, they absolutely will. They will love everything you create. Now, if you've got a script or you've got something very, that is simple, that provides value to your everyday use of the technology, I promise others will find value in it as well. So fill out the form, aka.ms/community/request/demo. That will connect us to you. Let us know that you're looking to want to present, and we will ensure to get you on the list. We'll reach out. It'll be easy, no problem. Don't hesitate. And if you want a buddy, just let us know. We'll buddy up with you, and we absolutely will make sure it's a fun and comfortable time, and you'll leave wanting to do more. And if you want to contribute to the community, but you're not quite sure how, check out our Sharing is Caring. I know we had our last one in November. The holidays came and vacations and all that. And then I apologize, I'm in LA, so it's been a little bit distracting with some things like fires lately. But we will get these rescheduled, I promise. And we're going to have more topics coming up soon, not just contributing to the community, but how to use some of the technology that we are using. So things like advanced features of Power Apps and other areas that you might want to learn more about, or even just getting started topics. Again, be on the lookout, ak.ms/sharingiscaring for those schedules, and we'll shout them from all the socials as well as soon as we get them scheduled. So appreciate your patience, always a good time, and thank you everybody for being part of the community and wanting to contribute more. And then, of course, once you do contribute, what do we get? Recognition, and in a formal and official way. So our badging program, is it back for 2025? You betcha, it is here. We've got a number of badges that are still going out for 2024 as friends and folks come back from vacations and process all those PRs. So keep on the lookout for that. We're getting all of them updated for 2025 as well. So all you got to do is opt in just once, not every year. Don't worry about doing it every year unless you change something like your GitHub or your email. Let us know those changes. But other than that, we will track all of it forever and make sure that you're recognized. And these are formal and official, and it's free, everybody. But these are formal and official and accredited badges that allow you to show your managers and your clients that you are making a difference. Okay, so let's get into some projects here. And first up is our Copilot prompts. So again, this is one of the easier ways to get contributing into the community. Why? Because we all have prompts now. We've all kind of become engineers around prompting and all of that. So I guarantee you've created one that you find value in, and we want you to share it and or go look and get inspiration from others. It is available here too. The prompt of the week is coming from Rabia. It says, extract issues reported in this chat and create concise list of issues that can be easily used to create GitHub issues by maintainers. Make sure you don't include issues which are already discussed and closed. Look for discussion which reached nowhere. So that's a good one, right? Because you're able to find some of those that maybe need some TLC, need to be taken a look at. So it's a great way. Again, Rabia is managing this repo. She would love to see more from the public being contributed. So please don't hesitate. It's super easy and super fun, and I guarantee that you will get a badge for it. You get that prompt badge. So definitely. All right. So first up is .NET libraries, and I don't see Bert here today. Oh yeah, Bert's here. Yes. Okay. Yeah. There you go. Sorry. Take it away,
no
Bert.
No problem. Yeah. So PNP, a couple of things. First of all, Christian did update the Pages API implementation that we have. So when you have a page nowadays, the title part is web art, and that web art can be on any location in the page. It usually is at the top, but if it's the bottom, it also will work, and he fixed that, so that's really good. And Koen did some work on translation-related things with the user information list. Furthermore, there's several PRs still pending that I need to merge, so stay tuned. They will get merged in the coming weeks. With that, over to PowerShell. Thank you all.
Awesome. Thank you, Bert. Gautam is not able to join us today, but he did ask me to share some of these updates. Specifically, V3.0 is coming soon-ish. So super excited. Major releases are always exciting because there's all kinds of goodies that are available for us, and we're excited. Why should we be excited over PowerShell? 36.2 million downloads, 140 million commandlets executed per day. Something's going right with this, right? So check it out if you can't, or if you haven't already, check it out. And we really appreciate everybody's work on that. New stuff in the nightly builds, .NET 8, PowerShell 7.4 support now in nightly builds, and all of that other good stuff. They added PNP Copilot Agent Commandlet to get Copilot agents in a site collection, pretty cool, and a whole host of other cool things. So check it out. Thank you, Gautam, and everyone else for all the hard work you're putting in there. We really appreciate it. Next up is script samples with the one and only Mr. Paul Bulik.
Hello, David. But thank you, everybody, for looking at this. So, if you don't know, Script Samples is a repository where you can share scripts with the community. So this could be Microsoft Graph, PNP PowerShell, CLI for M365. If you've got a script you want to share, we support a range of tools, and if it's not listed or it doesn't look like it's listed, then I can always adjust the site. It's flexible in that manner. I can be super flexible in that, and and the samples that do get posted there are also publicized into the solution sample gallery, so on adoption.microsoft.com as well. So so you get to see things in a few places, and also Azure Watercheck has got a cool extension in Visual Studio Code where you can also get access to the samples there too, to help you get started for those projects that you want support with. You just want to get a script going straight away, and you need somewhere to start from. By all means, we've got a whole repository of stuff there for you. We've got 3 new samples for you from some wonderful MVPs. We've got delete expired old sharing links from folder, file, and item by Reshmi Aklu. Creating SharePoint agents. These are the new .agent files with PowerShell by Liam Armston. And then we've got deletes company-wide anonymous sharing links by Reshmi Aklu. So a whole range of good samples there, Copilot-related samples, which is super, super cool if you're getting into that space. So that can absolutely help you out there. And if you want to contribute, by all means, you can reach out to me on Twitter or LinkedIn, Blue Sky, Pigeon Carrier, as I've put on there. And if you do contribute, and you'll get a badge. I need to update the badges for 2025, but I'll work with you, David, for that one. But absolutely opt in on the recognition program, and you'll get a badge for your submission. So thank you very much for your contributions, and back to you, David.
Awesome. Thank you, Paul. And friends, this is one of the easiest ways to contribute as well, because we all have those utility scripts. So Paul said he'll respond to anything smoke signals. I've even sent him a singing telegram, and he replied. So how awesome is that? All right, let's move into Copilot Pro Dev samples with Mr. Bob the Builder. Bob German, are you muted? I see you there.
I just got to get all unmuted and all set and everything like that. Sorry about that. Yeah, we got some great new Copilot Pro Dev samples. And these are showcasing some cool new features that came out over the holidays, sort of a nice little holiday gift. Declarative agents can now include a code interpreter. They can now generate graphic art. And they can do web searches that are specifically for a particular website. So Paul Bullock made an awesome agent that is a blog helper agent. It knows all about his blog. It's grounded just in his blog, which is a great blog. So you could do a lot worse, right? And it even will generate the heading images for his blog articles as he's working. Jeremy Thake, this was a real world one, right? And I use this one all the time. You ever been looking for a Word document or some document you worked on and it's like, I can't remember where I put it? Well, the Doc Finder will save you from figuring out the fancy search parameters to do that. And you can just ask the Doc Finder and it will come back with documents from SharePoint and OneDrive that have been used, authored, read, changed by you in the past. Really useful. And then just for fun, I wrote one called Xbox Game Master. This is grounded off of the Xbox.com website. It can make gaming recommendations and even generate images that look like a certain game. So I have some dragons that are in Minecraft style there in the screenshot. And what's unusual about this, I might do a demo sometime, is this one is built with no tooling at all. So you can just use the stuff that's built into any modern operating system, Windows, Mac, Linux, to build these solutions. So anyway, that's it for this week, but please keep them coming. Lots of cool agents out there, and I know you've probably got some ideas, so I would encourage you to contribute them. And back to you, David.
Awesome. Thank you, Bob. When you asked the question in the middle of your description there, I was so tempted to answer like it was an infomercial. Yes, Bob, I do deal with that every single day, right?
Well, Jeremy made a really cool video, which I also linked to from the sample when I pulled in the pull request. He wrote it, but anyways, just saying, it was like the video, that's how he starts off. It's like, have you ever had this situation? I'm like, yes, all the time.
That's right.
So
all right, awesome. Yeah, thank you, Bob, and thank you, Paul and Jeremy for that. So links are in the chat, and we'll put them in the show notes as well. All right, next and last but not least is our Power Platform Snapples. I'm just making words up. Samples, snippets, and prompts. So the first one is from Manish, who's got a demo today. Utility flow to extract number by length for automate. We've got Elaine, a progress bar gallery Power Apps snippet, and Sumit doing employee work log management prompts. So check those out. Very, very cool stuff. Lots of opportunity. Kate's doing a great job. She was just unavailable today. So thank you, Kate, and everyone else for contributing. All right, so what time is it? Well, it is picture time, so let's get those fantastic faces going. We'll get together mode started here. I'll turn my camera on, and if together mode is friendly today, which, come on, you can do it. There we go. We're going to apply a new scene and bring it over into view here. Looking great. Excellent. There we go. All right, just a couple of seconds. If everybody wants to get that camera turned on, we're doing okay on time, just about on time. Move this out of the way. All right, I see Todd warming up, doing the calisthenics up there. The back, I see Bob, everybody. Good, good, good. Still see some cameras turning on, so I want to give everybody an opportunity. Very good, excellent. See Seena down there, great. All right, well, let's not delay any longer. So let's say the countdown, 3, 2, 1. Wave to the camera, everybody. Looking great. Love to see all of you in the community. Love the smiles, the thumbs up. So much great work you're all doing in the community. Excellent. We really appreciate it all so, so much. So keep it up. We are excited for what this is. And look at those balloons. I think Lee just brought in some balloons. So. All right, great, great stuff. Let's get back to our regularly scheduled program. And so we are going to welcome to the stage our amazing presenters today. Seena, again, first-time presenter. Let's show her a lot of support and love, everybody. She's going to talk about building healthcare agent service and deploy a Copilot agent by using Microsoft Copilot Studio. So Seena, if you'd like to take over the screen share, the stage is yours.
Hi, hello, everyone. Welcome to my presentation, which is about build healthcare agent service and deployed Copilot agent by using Microsoft Copilot Studio. So in this presentation, I'm going to demonstrate how to create healthcare agent service in Azure portal and how we can deploy the service connector into the Copilot Studio and configure it. So before that, I'm just going to give you a brief idea about Healthcare Agent Service, Microsoft Copilot Studio. So what is Azure Healthcare Agent Service? Healthcare Agent Service is a cloud-powered developers within healthcare organizations to build and deploy compliant AI-powered virtual health assistants. So some of the key components of Healthcare Agent Services, first is generative AI copilots. So these advanced tools help streamline processes, enhance patient experiences, and reduce operational costs as well. Then healthcare orchestrator, healthcare adapter orchestrator powered by large language models that integrates with customer-defined sources, OpenAI plugins, and built-in healthcare intelligence sources as well. Then healthcare safeguards, which ensures the reliability of generator responses through evidence detection, provenance tracking, clinical code validation, and if any abuse monitoring as well. Then to integrate and customize, it can seamlessly integrates with customer-defined sources, OpenAI plugins, and built-in healthcare intelligence sources. And to organizations can create a tailored healthcare agent service instance to integrate these intelligent tools into their existing systems as well. Some of the benefits, it enhanced patient and clinician experiences, then operational efficiency and compliance, simplifies the process of creating a healthcare copilot that addresses compliance and regulatory requirements. Some of the use cases, healthcare providers can implement this, then pharmaceutical companies, then telemedicine providers, health insurers, etc. Then coming into Microsoft Copilot Studio, which is a powerful low-code platform which allow users to create and customize AI-powered agents to specific business needs. Some of the key features, custom AI agents, then integration with, it can connects with over 1,500 pre-built data connectors across Microsoft and non-Microsoft data sources. Then autonomous agents, it can create and operate independently, dynamically planning, learning, and escalating tasks. Multi-channel deployments are there, deploy agents across various channels, including Microsoft Teams, SharePoint, websites, and social media, etc. Then it manages agents from a central admin center with comprehensive tools for data protection and governance. For security and governance, the platform provides a central admin center to manage all aspects of AI agents, ensuring consistent security protocols and governance. And built-in tools and features help protect sensitive information, ensuring that data handling complies with industry standards and regulations. And self-governed users can monitor and control AI agents, ensuring they operate within defined guidelines and policies. And for the use cases, there are a lot of use cases which you know already. So because this is now in famous now, Microsoft Copilot Studio. So customer support is there, employee assistance, sales and marketing, IT support, a lot of use cases there. Okay, let's start with the demonstration now. So I have logged into my Azure portal. So firstly, I'm going to create a healthcare agent service. You can search over here, otherwise if it's not available here. So I'm just clicking over here. Now for creating healthcare agent service, you can select in subscription, and if you are not having a resource group, you can create a resource group. And here you can provide a name, health assistance, and the region. You can select the available region for this. So here by default East US is selected, so I have selecting that. And then plan for we have to select agency. And so this plan only providing the generative AI for healthcare with the healthcare safeguards, and we can download this connector by selecting this plan only. So select agency one and then go for the validation. So I'm not going to select any tags or configure any tags here. Now validation complete and click on create. Please wait for initializing and get it deployed.
I always feel like Microsoft should automatically include like hold music, like when we're waiting on an elevator, whenever deployment's in progress, right? Like we need some sort of like, while your deployment is in progress, we thank you for your service.
Okay,
yes.
The deployment completed.
Yay.
Now go to our resources. So here is the resource has been created for healthcare agent service. Now we can go for the management portal of it by clicking on this link. Okay, so this is the agent service resource management portal, and here these are the icons. Sorry, these are the options we are having, and just configuration or plugins if you are clicking. So you can see here the healthcare orchestrator is automatically enabled, and this is we need for accessing these resources from outside of this environment as well. And also you can integrate, there are different connections, data connections available, authentication providers you can configure, and channels here itself. You can configure the same this resources to different channels as well. Now we are going to download the connector. So for that we have to click this board administration, and from here just download Copilot Studio connector. Okay, it is downloaded. Now what we are going to do is we will go to Microsoft Copilot Studio, and here click on the agents, and we are going to import this as a solution. Import agent, import solution, browse, and here we can select that zip file. So here we are not going to change anything. Now click on import, and here also. So this is the app ID. We can cross check this app ID from here, and then the endpoint URL as well. So this is the app ID here. It is showing. So this same app ID you can see over here, and the endpoint URL. Now click on import. It won't take that much time to import also.
We'll get there any moment. Okay.
The suspense, it's amazing. There we go. Yay.
Okay, so now it's imported. You can click on it. So it is the opening that solution. And here, agents. Click on Health Assistance Agent, which we have configured there in the Healthcare Agent service. Okay, so here you can see this is the overview section. And here the description provided, and the instruction, there is no instruction provided. Automatically this orchestration enabled. And yeah, this is the action. Now coming to the topics. So here the conversation start. We can edit this conversation if you want to edit, like so I'm just removing this, the last sentence. Giving some answers. Now for any own error configuration is there, if there is any errors, if we doesn't want to show to our users, so we can add some data over here. So I'm just providing some generative answers over here. So whether this action is not working, this skill which we have created there, it's not working, or it is blocking somewhere, so the users won't get any errors. So for that, I'm just providing generative answers here. The line. So I have added the generative answer over here, and I'm just removing this error message. And from here also, I'm just doing the same. Okay, and before that, we have to do one more thing. For completing this setup, we should have to go into the settings, and then here in the from the advanced option, metadata, we have to copy this agent app ID, and then go into the healthcare agent service portal, and here in the skills section, expose a skill, we need to add the skill consumer. So accept request from any skill consumer, so that if it's enabled, that means any of the consumer we can use, they can use this. So if a particular application you have to use this assistance, then we have to provide that app ID over here, and then click on save. That's the only configuration we have to do to create a bridge between the healthcare agent portal and the Copilot Studio. Okay, now coming into the I'm just deleting one more knowledge source. Okay. Now our health assistant agent is ready. I'm going to publish this in a channel, in a demo website. For the channels, if I'm going to select the demo website, we should have to go to authentic settings, and here for the authentication, no authentication I have selected. So this is for publicly available now, the Copilot agent. Now here in the channel, demo website, copy this, save, take any tab and here paste it. Okay, so once more publish. So I'm testing over here. Okay, so here I have tested. So it is showing the result. So I have asked symptoms of high cholesterol. So it is showing some results over here, some content and reference as well. That's it from my side. So this is the way we can configure healthcare agent service by using Azure portal, and we can import it in Copilot Studio, and then we can configure according to our needs, our requirements.
All right. Very, very cool. Thank you, Seena. This is really, really cool. You connected all these things together and how it's available via the website and everything. So thank you so, so much. Really, really, really appreciate it. All right, let's move on to Manish, who's going to show how to repair flow errors with Copilot's Assistant and Power Automate for desktop. Manish, if you'd like to take on over the screen and show us how to take care of those errors.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, David. Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah, if you just want to throw that into presentation mode, and you are on your, and if you could just hide the little teams as sharing your screen. There you go. Perfect. Take it away.
So hello, everyone. Thanks for giving me the opportunity and platform to share my experience. I'm going to talk about an awesome Copilot feature in Power Automate for desktop that assists us in detecting the fix for UI error during the execution flow. Before I begin, I would like to give a quick introduction. My name is Manish Solanki. I'm a tech enthusiast with a vast experience in application development and workflow automation. I specialize in designing and implementing solutions by leveraging the capabilities of Power Automate, Power Apps, and other Power Platform tools. During this session, I will cover the most common scenario in UI and web automation. Next, we will discuss about the solution, that is setting up repair flow error feature to resolve UI automation errors. Post that, we will cover the benefits of setting up this feature in automation process. After that, we will discuss the prerequisite to enable this feature in Power Platform environment. Then we'll jump on the hands-on session where I will show end-to-end case to solve error for attended implementation. Lastly, we will cover the list of known issues and limitations. Most frequent problem we face in UI and web automation are, we have observed that post new release or patch of underlying application, the existing UI selector in desktop flow becomes invalid due to code or UI change by the application developer. Secondly, when underlying application that is set up or provision in lower environment, dev or test, has different class or identifier for UI element as compared to production environment. So when we push the desktop flow in production, the desktop flow will not able to identify those UI elements and will fail ultimately. Coming to the solution, error related to missing UI element in automation can be fixed by enabling repair flow error feature. This is a public preview feature, so I would suggest playing around with this feature and share the feedback to Microsoft product team to further improve it. and the Microsoft team is planning to release this feature by end of this April in as a GA. This feature is available in Power Automate Desktop version 2.51 or higher, and it allows user to enable or disable as per the business case. This solution is applied only for UI elements that cannot be found at the execution time by bot in web and UI automation scenarios. The Copilot suggests alternative selector for missing UI element on the screen during runtime. It also allows user to review the Copilot suggestion before applying and saving the alternative UI selector. On the right side, we can see how we can enable this feature from the properties of a desktop flow. We will cover all those details later in the demo. The key benefits of repair flow errors are it improves reliability of automation by reducing errors. Fixing error definitely increase the success rate and improve the efficiency of operations. It further reduces the downtime for robotic process automation scenarios. To use this feature, we must enable some configuration setting in Power Platform Admin Center. The two important settings that we should enable are first is Copilot setting and second is desktop flow repair at runtime configuration. We have a separate setting for attended and unattended run. One important thing to note here is we need to enable the Power Platform environment as managed environment to make this feature work in unattended mode scenarios. Now I switch to live demo. I will cover only the attended implementation due to time constraint. So I will first show you the prerequisite. Go to the Power Platform Admin Center, click Manage, and I'm using the dev environment. So you can see it is a managed environment, and that is we require for unattended runs. Then if I show you the settings that we need to enable for Copilot repair error feature to work, under product you will get features. The first thing is the Copilot should be enabled. And the next, if we scroll down, you can see desktop repair and runtime configuration. So you can see we have separate setting for attended and unattended runs. So these has to be enabled to for this feature to work. Next, I have already created a desktop flow for attended scenario. Let me open it. So meantime it is opening. So when you create a new flow, you will get a setting, to repair a flow error during execution. So you can enable from here or you can disable. So this is based on the business case, and that if you enable this feature, the Copilot will assist you in fixing the automation errors during runtime. So this is for the new flow. If it is an existing flow, then you can go to flow properties and you can have this setting enable or disable as per your need. And when you enable, it gives you two options. One is repair with Copilot. In that case, the Copilot will suggest error fix during runtime, and it will ask your consent before applying the fix. And another is manually repair. In that case, the user or maker has to be manually select the correct selector during this feature. So it has to be manually selected by the user during the execution time. So in this demo, I will show you how Copilot will assist us in fixing the error. Coming back to the flow. So this is a simple case. So it will launch an invoice application. I will show you the use case. So this is my invoice application, and you can see the contact email is blank. So from bot, we will, fill this contact email for this record. So if you see the actions, we have a run application that will launch this exe, invoice exe, and there are certain setting like it will be open in maximize mode and it will wait for 10 seconds to load. It gives an process ID as a variable output. This output we will use to terminate or kill this exe in the later step. Now this is the selector. This selector is basically the text box selector. So you can see it has a default selector, and this it has some properties, and this is an invalid selector, and it gets this value from the input parameter. So I will show you we will run this flow from the cloud flow with some input parameter that is a contact email. So this is the input variable contact email that will pass from the cloud flow, and this is we are setting in this text box. You can see the input variable, and this is the invalid selector. So the bot will stop here and it will fail. Then we have a next action. So once bot fill this text box, it will click this save button. So this is selector for save button. You can see the image, and then it wait for 3 seconds, and then last we will terminate this exe or process using the app process ID from the previous run application variable. So this is the flow, and let me show you in debug mode. So it will fail because we have an invalid selector. So let's see. Yeah, so you can see this flow has failed on step number 2, and it is unable to find the text box. So this is a UI element that it is not able to identify because of invalid selector, and it gives the error details and the recommendation. So let's run this flow from the cloud in attended mode. So I have a cloud flow. Sorry. Let me open in edit mode. So it's a simple flow. It's a manual trigger flow. And you can see the second action that triggers a desktop flow from the cloud. You can see we have a update account record flow, and we are running in attended mode. And this is the value we are giving to set in that text box, in the invoice text box. So we are all set to test. Now the flow will run. It will take some time for the desktop flow to get triggered from cloud. Yeah, so it will take some seconds to trigger on the machine. In the meantime, let me talk something about the selector. So selector are basically the XML expression for UI elements that contains the name, ID, and other attributes. And using selector, the bot identify the UI elements and interact with it, like it will read the values from those UI elements and we can write the values. So this way the bot interacts. And this way, the selector is helpful for Power Automate desktop to identify them. So here you go. The bot has triggered or launched the invoice exe. It will fail, and now the Copilot window will pop up for the repair, and it is all happening during the execution time. You can see here we have got an error, and then the Copilot is suggesting and locating the correct the UI element for this scenario. So it has come out with a suggested fix. So on the top you can see a repair session window. The default time is 15 minutes. If you don't take any action in 15 minutes, this step will be skipped and the bot will fail because of invalid selector, or because it won't able to identify the text box. So on the top screen, you can see it gives an error. It won't able to identify the text box UI element. It gives the name of the desktop flow, the action number, and the action name, and the flow or subflow name where this action is failed. It also captures this image, and now this is a preview selector, is basically the default selector that we already have in our desktop. This is invalid selector. Now come to the suggested fix, the window at the bottom. Here you can see it has come up with some suggestion. So if you click here, it will highlight that text box on the screen within the application. So it is pointing to this contact email, which is the correct selector. Now if you click on preview selector, so this is the correct selector script, or we can say XML for this text box. If we compare it, you can see the ID are different. It contains txt account, contact email, and it has some numbers after this. So we also have an option to cancel. If you cancel it, then this feature will not be apply, and the bot will fail because of invalid selector. Now we have three options, like we can repair manually. So in manually, it gives an option to select the UI element manually, and then and this will also happen when this Copilot is not able to locate or identify the correct or UI element. So it will ask the user to manually select it. And apply once is a temporary fix. So it will apply that the correct selector for this run. But if you run it again, then it will stuck to the same step because of invalid selector. So this apply for every run is a permanent solution. It adds a new persistent selector in the list of selector in the actual desktop flow. So let me click it. So you can see it is adding a valid selector or correct selector in that update account record desktop flow. It will take some time. It has been added. Now the cloud flow desktop flow will continue. You can see the new value, and it will save and it will exit. So the bot has completed its execution, and we have successfully fixed that error during bot execution. The cloud flow is also executed successfully. So I will show you the effect of apply to all. So let's open this desktop flow again. Meanwhile, it is opening. Let's check the invoice application, see the output. So here you are, we have a value in the contact email that we have passed from the cloud flow. Yeah. So this is the action that failed. Let's check it. So here you can see the self-heal generated selector is automatically added by this Copilot feature. And if we open in text editor, you can see this is a valid selector. So we have two selector here. One is invalid and valid. So because we have a valid selector in the list of selector, so the bot will not fail again. And this is how we can use Copilot feature to fix UI and web automation error during execution. Let me go back to the slide which I cover, where I cover the known issue and limitation. So this feature is available only in US region and support only unattended run mode scenarios. It works for desktop flow saved in schema version 2.0. This feature limits in adding a persistent selector for the desktop flow trigger in unattended mode. It could not suggest error fix for UI element in virtual desktops. This feature does not support child flow execution, UI element collection, and picture-in-picture execution. The option apply for each run will be available only if there is an active user session into the Power Automate for desktop console. Lastly, this feature does not support drag and drop action and can't be applied to selected that contains one or more variables. So you have seen how easily we can set up repair flow error feature to increase the success rate of UI and web automation in both attended and unattended scenario. I hope you find this session useful and would like to thank everyone for patiently listening to me. Thank you.
Awesome. Very, very cool stuff, Manish. Excited to see the unattended side of that on the next one, but this has been really cool. I learned some things as well, so thank you. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, today I'm going to talk about bringing GitHub data into Copilot using graph connectors. Very quick about myself. My name is Lee Ford. I'm a developer by trade. I also like to do a bit of coding on the weekend. And yeah, I'm based in Birmingham in the UK, not in Alabama. And there's my socials if you want to follow along. So let's get started. So the agenda, very simple. We've got graph connectors. Quickly cover what they are, how they work. Then we'll go over the solution that I've sort of architected, I guess, and then we'll get into a demo and a bit of sort of, if we've got time, a quick look into the code. So quick 101 on graph connectors. Graph itself only has sort of data that's based on your own files, your own emails, calendar, those sort of things. That's your sort of base ground data that's in Microsoft Graph. Obviously, if you want to have external data, so from external data sources, then you need to bring it in via a different method. And one way is to use graph connectors. You can use things like API plugins and stuff like that for another day. But so we're going to talk about bringing external data into Graph. So it kind of sits alongside things like your emails and stuff like that. So one important note is it's unlike, say, calling an API, you're effectively ingesting that data into Microsoft Graph. So it's a copy of the data. So ultimately, it's up to you to make sure it's kept up to date and any changes are reflected and such. You're not pulling down the live data as such. So there's two types of connectors. First one is the built-in connectors. These are off the shelf, kind of a turnkey solution in a way. You can choose from so many. I think there's Salesforce is one. Sort of the usual suspects are there. However, if it's anything else, then you need to use custom connectors. And ultimately, you can use that with any data source. As long as you can programmatically get that data out of wherever it is and put it into a format that you can then put into a graph connector, then you can use whatever you want. So the only difference here is the built-in one is there's no infrastructure. You don't need to code anything. You can kind of just almost click a few buttons and you're done. Whereas graph connectors is a little bit more involved. Custom graph connector, should I say? You obviously need to write some code and put it somewhere and be able to access it. So wait, isn't there already a graph connector now? Before I started this, I did have a quick look, and there is one, but it's in preview, and two, doesn't really do what I want it to do. Where it was kind of the bits that I'm interested in GitHub, but maybe as a developer aren't necessarily the bits the built-in connector is actually surfacing. So hence why I built this. So my use case is that I want to be able to pull through issues, pull requests, commits, and be able to bring it through and kind of report on it, but also use Copilot to actually help me along the way. So in this example, I'm like, okay, what issues have we got open? Okay, cool. Issue number 8, like, how do I fix it? You can't really see the whole conversation on the slide, but ultimately it goes through a 10-step process of, like, okay, this is the issue you've got, this is how you fix it. So it's kind of a way of kind of looking through your GitHub issues with a Copilot to help you go, oh yeah, that's a good idea, I didn't think of that, rather than having to like copy and paste errors into Copilot. And you know, it's kind of, yeah, just a bit more natural, I guess. So one other benefit of obviously using a connector for this, rather than just saying, oh, just access GitHub and have a look yourself, obviously is not everyone has access to GitHub, or maybe they don't have access to all the repositories that the organization has. So by this, you can kind of have a hands-off approach to, so someone can visibly see, oh yeah, we've got so many issues or got so many pull requests, whatever, but they're not actually having to sort of directly interface with them. They can kind of see it from a distance. So very quickly, I'll go through the solution overview here. So we've got 4 components really. So the main one being GitHub. So that's where the data is. Now I've done it a little bit differently to some of the connectors, where a lot of connectors will scrape the source data, and that's ultimately what the built-in connector for GitHub is doing, whereas you log in with an account, a service account, which I'm a massive fan of myself, and you effectively just scrape or crawl through GitHub and pick everything out. Whereas by doing it this way with a webhook is I can choose which repositories I actually want to set this up on, maybe one or all of them, and also which type of events for which repository. So I might say, oh yeah, for this repository I want everything. For this repository, maybe I only want pull requests. So by doing it with a webhook, you've got a bit more granular control. So the way it works is we have GitHub, that sends a webhook, that sends it to an Azure Functions, which is where my code's running. My Azure Functions takes the data, puts it into the schema format that I'm using for the connector. So you know what fields am I have I got in my external items, they're called in Graph, and then that gets sent up to Microsoft Graph. Once it's stored there, after a few minutes, I can then use Copilot to query that that data, and in this scenario, I've kind of wrapped it inside an agent just so it's a bit more focused on this task. So without further ado, let's get to the demo. Now, if I go to Copilot, you can see I've had a previous conversation here. I'm just going to start a new chat. So this is an agent called Developer Assistant I've just made. And in here, I'm just going to say, can you tell me about, let me type properly, the open issues we have. Okay. And hopefully, being a live demo, it's going to behave and tell me what it is. Okay, cool. All right. So it's gone through and it's told me there's 2 open issues, and it kind of explains in a bit more detail what they are. Obviously, I've got links back to them, so I can click through and bring up the issues. And also, it's additionally said, oh yeah, there is a pull request for issue number 7 that's open. And obviously, I've got all the links here, so I can go through it. Okay. All right. So then I can go. How do we go about fixing issue number 8? Okay. And now it's going to go through and it's going to give me a load of stuff. I don't know anything about Python. So whether this is accurate or not, you're asking the wrong person. Let's assume it is. Okay. So then I can then take these steps, go off and do that fix, and obviously, hopefully fix that issue. So I haven't got that much, obviously we're on low on time, so I don't want to go in kind of keep asking it questions, but you can kind of see the benefit here. Now, obviously, I've only got a couple of issues here and 1 pull request. If I've got, hundreds of pull requests and hundreds of issues, you can see how quite quickly it could be quite powerful to say, oh yeah, can we like organize them in this way, or what's the most pressing ones, or whatever it is. Because I think sometimes with some repos, you end up with hundreds of issues and you just don't even know where to start. This is the intent of this, is to obviously make that a bit easier to look at. So how does it work? I've kind of shown you the sort of the overview, but I'll just quickly go through. So it's very straightforward. We have a webhook. So I've done it at repo level. Now you can do it at organization level. So you have an organization, hundreds of repos in, you can configure it in one place, and then all the repos will then, every time something happens, like someone opens a pull request or someone opens an issue, they will then get pushed through into this webhook. So if I look at this webhook, oh, I need to sign in, 1 sec. Hey, there we go. I'm using a dev tunnel at the moment because my code is running locally on my machine. Obviously, if this was production, it would be pointing at an Azure Functions URL or something. And obviously, what I do in here, I choose the types of events that I want to have. So I've set this connector up for pull request, pushes, and commits. Anytime there's a commit, a pull request, or a push for commits, an event, we get a notification. So if I look at the recent deliveries, you can see we've had things like pull requests opened. You can see this request was sent with all this data in. And obviously I cherry pick the data that I need. We'll get into that in a second, and then push that into Graph. So it's very straightforward from a GitHub point of view. I haven't got to worry about having unattended accounts, scraping GitHub, and periodically, how often do you want to do that and all that. It's just as soon as the event happens, boom, we get a notification through a webhook, and we put it in Graph. So within 10 minutes of something happening, Copilot knows about it. Anyway, right, so that's it from a kind of setup point of view. If I just quickly go through the code before we finish. So I use Azure Functions just because it's a bit easier to, I think, visualize, because you have to worry about setting up HTTP servers and God knows what. We're just literally setting up a bit of code. So straightforward, we have a HTTP request coming in, and then I basically have an event handler that I've created. And depending on which type of event we receive, we handle it in a certain way. So, for example, with issues push, I have event handlers. Any other type of event, for the purposes of this demo, I just haven't bothered. I just say no, we don't support that event hook. That event in that webhook. You need to not do that. So, for example, let's just go through one. I don't think we have time to go through all of them, but let's say I pick pull request, for example. So a pull request will come through, and the first thing we do is obviously we get a Graph client, and we make sure that the connector is existing and the schemas there. I'll get through that in a second. And then effectively we create an external item, and then we put the external item into Graph. So I'll quickly show you how to create an external item. So this is a Graph external item, and it contains kind of three things really. We've got the ID of the external item, which is obviously needs to be unique, and I just use the ID of the pull request rather than coming up with something. And then you've got the access control list, who can see this item in when they're using Graph or whatever. And then obviously you've got the properties, and this is where we start tying up the data that's in the pull request to the properties. Now these ones here are sort of the default ones that come with Graph. So last modified, created date, time, who created the event, that sort of stuff. The item, should I say, not the event. And then these are additional ones that I've then added on. So things like status images and repository names that just help Copilot a bit, give it a bit more of an idea of what it's looking for. And I use the same external item schema for all different types. The only thing that really changes is the content, to be honest with you. Everything else is kind of the same, and obviously the title that indicates that it's a pull request. So if I quickly look at the schema, sorry, this one, the external item schema, you can see in here what we have. We've got the title, the URL, and like I say, a lot of these are built-in ones, and then I have sort of the custom ones down here. And this is whether it can be queried, and comes up in searches, that sort of stuff, and also aliases. So if someone's using the word tags rather than labels, it will still work. And then finally, the last bit is the Graph. So I've just got a Graph client, and all it does is creates an external connection if one doesn't exist. So first time run, it'll go and go, oh yeah, external connection doesn't exist, let's create one. And then it creates the schema, and the schema is what I just showed you with the definition of what the items look like. And that's about it, really. I don't think there's anything else in here that's worth going through. Obviously, the put the item, that's when we're either updating or creating a new item. So obviously things like, we create, let's say, a pull request in GitHub, that then creates it in here, but then say someone closes it or merges it or whatever, that then also then comes through this and gets updated so we don't end up with duplicates. It's still the same, same thing. And I think that is it. Let me just go back to my slide. I think, yeah, that's it. The only thing is that's where the sample will be. I opened a pull request 2 or 3 days ago. It's still pending. So like you can see the code, it's there. It's just not in the main branch. But I'm sure someone will get to that at some point. So yeah, that's it really. Thank you.
Very, very cool. Awesome, Lee. Thank you. Thank you for sticking it out with us and sharing it. Really, really great to get that recorded. Some cool stuff there.
Yes.
Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. All right, everybody. Well, let's wrap this call up. Again, appreciate all of our presenters today. Thank you so much, Seena, Manish, and Lee. You did awesome. Really great content. Again, appreciate everything that the community does and appreciate you all attending and staying. We got still quite a few on here. So really great to see. If you want to get more collaborative in the community, we've got over 2,400 members in our Discord server. This is a great kind of one-stop shop to talk about a number of different topics with many people in the community. Plus, you can wow your kids that you are on Discord. So all you got to do is check out that aka.ms/community/discord for the invite, and you will be invited. And we'd love to get some feedback on the call. So if you're if you like what you're seeing, just let us know. Love to hear positive feedback. If there's something you'd like to see improved or changed, we'd love to hear that as well. Just please keep it positive. We would love to make sure that these are still working for everyone in the community. The next, or I should say, the recording will be available in 24 hours or less on the Microsoft Community Learning YouTube channel, so you can get access to that at ak.ms/community/YouTube. Follow us on Twitter or Blue Sky or LinkedIn. We will let everyone know there as well. The next M365 and Power Platform bi-weekly call, 2 weeks from today, January 30th, 7 a.m. Pacific time, like clockwork, and Viva Connections and SharePoint Framework next Thursday, January 23rd. Our host will be Chris Kent, so you do not want to miss all the horsing around that's going to happen. All right, thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your week and a wonderful weekend. Thank you for all that you're doing. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.